I like progress as a reader of literature. And I hope that in this hour that I'll be with you, you will make some progress as readers of literature. But I have italicized the word test, because I need us to think about that. I don't like the word test. It has negative connotations for me. Does it for you? Test? Many, yeah, especially when you're grading tests. For students, it has negative connotations as well. I prefer the word evaluate. Test sounds like there's a top mark of like 100%, and then we take marks off for every mistake or omission or thing they get wrong. Evaluate starts from 0 and rewards the students for what they have done. But the mindset of our students, the parents, the headmasters, the ministry, all the authorities in the chain, the mindset is for testing. And that is pernicious. That is killing the imagination of the learner. And the great advantage that we have if we use the kind of materials I'm advocating, literature with a small l, is that we can move them from referential language to representational language very quickly. Referential language. That's what we're teaching in most language classes. One word has one meaning. I'm a boy, you're a girl, what do you want to do about it? This is a table, this is a chair, can you tell me the way to the restroom? This is transactional language. And it is fundamental and necessary. We cannot live without the referential level of language. But every language on the earth stops being referential very quickly. It becomes representational. You, as speakers of Mandarin, know this. It's a very representational language. Asian languages are all much more representational, even in your ideograms, than European languages, which have the same letters to make words. You have a pictorial, an image-creating way of using language from the beginning. And very often as a result of that, I think our students here have a problem when language is reduced, if you like, to letters. I want to de-reduce it, unreduce it. What's the opposite of reduce? Expand. I want to expand it. And I want to use representational language. When I was coming over from Fuyin 20 minutes ago, the lady who was very kindly driving me over, she said, "Oh, the traffic is not flowing smoothly today." And I said to her, "Great, representational language, because flowing would normally be used for water. But we use it very normally, very easily, for the traffic not flowing smoothly. We use it for our train of thought not flowing smoothly. We use representational language all the time, even in referential context. One thing I've noticed in recipes nowadays, they used to tell you to pour olive oil on your cooking. Now you drizzle it. Isn't that wonderful? Drizzle it. It's much sexier, it's much more vivid, it's much more representational. And that is something that very unfortunately is not included in most language teaching textbooks and courses. And most teachers feel inadequate when faced with representational texts. I am sick of teachers telling me, "Ah, but I'm not a literature expert." You don't need to be a literature expert. The only qualification is that you're a human being. And most of the teachers I know are human beings. Certainly not most of the headmasters, but that's another argument. So it seems to me quite important that we start using representational language from the lowest levels of language learning. in order to sensitize the students from an early stage to the representational use of language and get them away from the perplexity of what it means. Students are always asking us what it means. Wrong question. Because it's not so much what it means as how it means. The text that we just read by Carol Ann Duffy, The Valentine, works on contradiction of our expectations. That's how it achieves its meaning. It works on the unexpected. It works on the surprising. That's how it means. Look at this one. You may have seen this before because I used this text in this room about 3.5 years ago. And some people still remember it. And it has the same effect on every audience because you're going like that. I'm watching you. Your head goes like that. Now the reason I'm showing you this text is because most of us as teachers don't really know what to do with a text like that. Our students don't really know how to respond to it. You can't ask them multiple choice reading comprehension questions. Good. So what do you do with a text like that? Well, all of you are looking at it, and something is happening in your brain, apart from those of you who are asleep. Something is happening in your brain. You are processing the text. Some of you are thinking, oh, please don't let him ask me what they're going to ask. That's teaching by intimidation. You know how when you were in the class at school and you knew the teacher was going to ask you and you knew that you had nothing to say and then, tell me what it's about. I don't want to make the students suffer like that. I want to help them to think. So I asked them, what words can you see in that text? And they can see the wall and I cannot escape. Good, that's the basic level of comprehension. That's our starting point. What other words? Law? Come on. You can see many more words. We. He. Oh. Now, if I give this to 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds, they'll be yelling lots of answers. They're better than you guys at responding to a text like this. Because you guys don't want to say a word in case maybe it's not a real word. What do you do if the kids say Ewa? E-W-A, the word Ewa. They could say that. They don't know whether it's a real word or not. They know it is. So I say to them, ooh, that's a nice word. Is it a good word or a bad word? Is it a female word or a male word? And in Taiwan, they'll say it's female because they'll think of the airline. I promise you, I tried it with students in Hualien the other day. You don't say no. The word H-E-W. Hew. A real word? Yes, no. Good, that's the kind of answer I like. I like when in the class somebody says yes and somebody says no. In fact, I almost train my students automatically. If somebody says yes, someone has got to say no. Occasionally we're wrong, but the word hew does exist. It's a very unusual word. It means to cut marble or cut big trees. To cut something enormous is to hew. Hewed, hewn. So there you have learned one new vocabulary item today. It was worth getting out of bed early for, wasn't it? But the best definition I got from a very young kid, about 10 or 11 years old, she said, hew is the noise my cat makes when it sneezes. Hew. I think that's lovely. I think that's much better than the real dictionary meaning of the word.